What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Here today I have something that I truly love and it got me into the sport forever ago. Is that the Meepo Mini 5. I call this the commuting campus king of the world for now, and let me explain why. So deep diving here, there's been a huge rise in popular things of street surfing. Basically, other companies that are out there that are non-powered electric skateboards like Carver, Yow, Waterborne have all created these adapters that allow you to go onto these short boards, mini boards, and give you a surf style feel, like this very snappy style feel. Here's a quick clip of a OnStar Challenger and me riding on it at Eskate, and this thing feels like you're dialed in, buttery smooth. And this is the Waterborne adapter, but it basically allows you to get off the surfboard and get on a street surfer and be able to, if the waves are flat, hop in this thing and snap around. That's for a later video, but what I'm trying to get the point is that these mini boards have a perfect place in the world of Eskate, and it's everything from your campus cruiser to your street surfer to your last mile resort. Now, the one that I do have here today is the Meepo Mini 5 ER edition, and I'll dive a little deeper into what the ER edition is later on, but basically allows you to have a much longer cruise, extended range. Let's go ahead and start off with the deck. The deck is this 8-layer maple Canadian, kind of a dish-like with a subtle kicktail. Love it, it's perfect. It's got this bull nose at the front here. It's got enough clearance on the wheel wells that allow that the board doesn't actually have any wheel bite. I did have to tighten it down a little bit, but we'll get a little bit into that in a second. The comfortability of the deep dish bowl is a superb feel. I mean, it's got no flex whatsoever. You don't want flex when it comes to a mini board because obviously it's a mini board. But the benefit of that kicktail, everything is about that kicktail. That kicktail is the whole reason why this board is awesome. You're able to pop over cracks, get that front truck up, do a manual. Do a kickflip! No, it's not meant to do kickflips. You know, if you're like a real skateboarder, you could like do a kickflip at like a skate park and stuff. Yeah, but it's not like an actual like, you know, skateboard like you would in the park. No, you gotta like be able to like be better, man. Yeah, I guess you're right. You know, cool. Yeah, you can try that. Yeah, all right, whatever. Yeah, catch cool, you on the flip side, bro. Hang loose. Anyways, so let's go ahead and flip this deck over and get onto the bottom side here, the truck system. These are their brand new 5th generation 45-degree trucks with a 92A durometer double barrel inside there. When I first got on the board, a short board, it felt a little wobbly, and I kind of was like, okay, once you start getting up to speed, because it does have a really high end top speed of like 28 miles an hour, it does have a little wobbles, little speed wobbles there. So I was like, all right, let me just go ahead and tighten down the bushings there. And I didn't want to over tighten them because then I started losing the feel of the carve in there. Then I realized is that I don't need to go 28 miles an hour on a shortboard. It's fun, don't get me wrong, it can do it. You can do it absolutely on other boards, but this board is designed to be this carvy campus cruiser. Your destination is you enjoying like whipping around and doing like slide outs and being able to like treat this as like a surf skateboard. And that's kind of where I started saying, all right, let me start thinking of it as that and go that route. So I tightened it up a little bit, I adjusted it in there, but what I can say is that the reason why I feel like it's so carvy is that these riser pads in here, so they put these riser pads in here, I'm assuming for the clearance issue, because these are 90mm wheels in the front here, they're large wheels. But this riser pad that's on the bottom here pushes this away and gives it a totally different angle than what the 45-degree truck system actually is. So I'm assuming that because of this 45-degree truck system with this riser pad, it pushes it a little differently and they kind of counteract each other. And I would say that that actually gives it a little bit more of a carvier feel than you would get if you just mounted these things on there. Plus, stops it from wheel bite, which is obviously a saving grace in that sense. There's been other companies out there that have put on stuff that needed a little bit thicker riser pads, and those 90mm wheels are great, but you just need to be able to get them away from the deck. And Meepo has done that in a very good way. And I would say that with the power and the responsiveness and the snappiness that the trucks provide, it all kind of balances itself out. While we're here, let's talk about the wheels. These are the Meepo 90mm by 62mm contact patch by 78A durometer on the front. These are soft, squishy wheels. Reason being is that it absorbs a lot of the imperfections that are on the road. So if you're going over rocks, if you're going over cracks, if you're going over corrugations, those front wheels are meant to be able to take a little bit of a impact, a little bit of a squishiness. But that semi-defeats the purpose because in the back end here, it's the inboard hub sleeve motor system. So what that means is that these wheels can actually be pulled off and put back on. You can swap them out for different wheels supposedly. So like if they come out with like a larger cloud wheel situation, they're able to swap them out. Or if these things just get broken or damaged or whatever over time, you can replace them much easier as opposed to replacing the entire motor. You can be able to just slip this on here. but the back wheels are an 83A 90mm by 60mm compact. So it's actually a much harder wheel than it is in the front. You do feel that when you go over the corrugations, you do feel that when you're going, kind of cruising on like a more crunchier road. It does feel a little bit harder impact. You get a little foot massage over there. So you might get some more foot fatigue over long periods of time. But again, this isn't meant to be like a incredibly long range. This is supposed to get you from point A to point B, an errand runner, a campus cruiser, a last mile resort, which is what I used it for. And you can check that out right here.
Is exactly what this board is meant for, is going out on short errand trips, running around town, like I'm gonna go pick up lunch. And it's absolutely gorgeous out today. We finally have warm weather here in New Jersey. Woo. But yeah, going to pick up some Korean tacos for lunch. So all these little corrugation stuff like that, it's 90mm wheels. It's definitely not the most comfortable ride with the hubs, but it's definitely doable. We got lunch. That's what I'm here for.
While we're on the back end here, let's go ahead and talk about the motors. These are the brand new 6th generation BLDC 500 watts each motors. Plenty of power to get you where you're needing to go. I'm 220 pounds. I was able to get up to 28 miles an hour on this thing. Is it a comfortable ride at 28 miles an hour? No. But is it a fun ride? Absolutely. So this is a whisper quiet system. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more sleeker, a little bit quieter design, the hub system's always going to be way more quieter than any other system that's out there, in my personal opinion. Now, this is the extended range version. So what does that mean? So what you're getting there is you're going from the 11 mile, which is the 18650 battery pack system inside there, to a 21700 series cell inside of here. So it's still a 10S 2P configuration, but the watt hours is an actual step up to 288 watt hours. So essentially almost doubling your range than you would from the standard edition. I do have the Meepo V5, check that out up here. And that video has the standard range version inside there. I was getting anywhere from like 8-ish to 9-ish miles on there. This one, on the other hand, I was able to ride pretty much all week running errands, going 5 miles here, 6 miles there, and I still was actually very surprised that I was getting way more range than I was anticipating. So by the end of the week, I was still up to like 17 or 18 miles of range, and I still had battery life left. So I was like, okay, maybe this thing actually can go beyond the 20 miles of range. still zipped around. 21 miles of range is my end result on this thing. So I think that maybe because it was a combination of me kick pushing, me not necessarily like gunning it everywhere like I was on the V5. On the V5, I was more like top speeding it out. I was hitting 25, staying at 25 miles per hour. This one, I was staying in the much lower range. I was going like 18, 19 miles an hour and just wanting to like carve around and whip this thing around. Estimated range is kind of funny when it comes to these things. A lot of the companies, they put smaller guys on there and they do like a strict standard test across like a very flat road, which is good. It's perfect in that sense. But for me as a heavier rider, I always kind of subtract some range from there in my expectations, but this actually beat my expectations. So good job, Meepo. And while we're underneath here, let's talk about the unified body. So the cool thing is that there's actually two pieces of different bodies up here. So the battery up the front and the ESC combination in the back there. And this is the brand new Leafhawk version 1.0, the super buttery smooth acceleration, single touch to have on there. You can see the lights up, then it tells you your battery indicator. I think I'm still at actually half battery life. Under load, that drops down. And then also what you can do is, in typical Meepo fashion, kick to push. One of my favorite features. It's just easier to not be able to have to worry about to bend down and turn it on there, or wait for your remote to power on to be able to start like riding out there. What I basically do is I grab my board, power my remote on as I'm walking towards the door, put the board on the ground, kick off within seconds, already gliding, and throttle up and you're good to go in that sense. This is a touchy subject for everyone because the M5 remote is actually, some people would say, a downgrade. Now there's no screen, just like there was on the M4 and the M4S remote, and there's a LED system inside of here. So when you power this guy on, so once you power the board on, it actually goes through and it shows you the battery indicator level. Again, I'm like half battery life, but that's not true. That's like under load, this thing rips down. So now the other cool part is that, so you tap on the selection mode. This is in speed mode 3, speed mode 4, 1, and 2. I like to leave it in 3. And then when you pull back on the brake system here, brake mode 3, 4, 1, and 2, go back up to 3. That's where I like to keep this thing at. And this thing is whisper quiet. I mean, under load, you won't hear any of this. It just sounds like a fan. It's nice. It is definitely a silent campus cruiser. The good thing is also it's USB-C on the charging port end there.
So the one thing that I use to rectify the situation with the M5 controller not being able to tell me how fast I'm going or how far I am is I use the Ride app. Wow, it's windy. The Ride app on my Apple Watch. I don't know if you can see that right there, but it is saying that I'm doing 15.4, 16.4 miles an hour right now. I'm coming through red light, go stop, look both ways, and I'm gonna continue. But this app is actually what I use on all of my tracking devices, even if I have a screen on there, and it allows me to basically keep an honest remote honest. You know, it's a GPS tracking, it's not the most accurate, but it's definitely better than nothing. And when it comes to a remote like this, it definitely helps you show what your speed is doing at a quick glance, and then again, how far you've actually gone on your travels with the road too. So, you know, you take the good with the bad. This is an entry-level board. It's not meant for, you know, the top pro rear riders. It's not meant for top pro riding, but it's definitely a lot of fun.
The other thing I must say as well too is that between the standard version and the ER version is that the charger. So the standard version on my Meepo V5 came with a 1.5 amp charger. The extended range version comes with a 3 amp charger. So it still takes 2.8 hours to charge from 0 to full for both versions. So they actually did offer a larger charger in there, so you don't have to wait longer times with the 1.5 amp charger. So that's a great step in the right direction. Is that, say 20 miles of range is not enough for you, you're able to bring yours around, plug it in while maybe say you're sitting in class or you're sitting at work or a coffee shop, get a few little extra juice, dump inside there, and you're on your way. But 3 amp charger, perfect for this style board. Again, it's a budget board series, but it's definitely a nice step in the right direction when it comes to charging from Meepo. So what are my overall impressions with the Meepo Mini 5? I love a mini board. It's one of my favorite things. I grew up skateboarding. It's one of those things where it just lends you back to your true roots. And with the rise of these new surf skates that are out there and these companies that are kind of leading towards that direction with a carvy feel that gives you a more surf feel, I'm all for it. I'm 100% on par when it comes to that stuff. So what that means is that this board is meant for someone who's a last mile commuter, a campus cruiser, or a weekend surfer. That basically is like, hey, waves are flat, pick this up, you can go ahead and whip this thing around and track on there, no problem. Is it a step in the right direction? Absolutely. Is there things that could be improved upon it? Sure. I mean, the M5 remote, a lot of people say that it's smaller, it's not necessary, that they wanted to have a little bit thing on there, but there's other options out there to go ahead and cover yourself to as far as your range and how fast you're going. Again, that doesn't bother me. I very rarely look at my remote to see anything other than my battery life on my board. That's all I need to have indicated to me. Now, you know, it's one of those things where some people that are newer to the sport want to know how fast they're going, and I get that. It's always the number one question whenever you are riding around with someone is, how fast does that thing go? How fast does that thing go? But it's really not the most important thing. It's how far does it go? And that's where my battery indicator level would be on there. So should you buy the Meepo Mini 5? Absolutely. I think that one of the boards that if you are getting into the sport and you're coming from a regular skateboard and you want to stick to the mini board series, the Meepo Mini 5 is definitely on the plus side. This should be on your radar 100%. Is the extended range version necessary? Maybe not. I mean, if you're looking for something, if you're a lighter weight person, you're looking for only 11 miles of range, then plugging in, the standard version is definitely going to save you a few coins. If you're looking for something that's a little bit bigger and you want to not have to worry about range, then definitely the ER edition is 100% recommended. The 21700 cells definitely is noticeable over the 18650s for me, the range version. So it's just a bigger battery, more cell capacity, and allows you to have a better discharge rate in that sense. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I love the Meepo Mini 5 board. It's definitely one that's gonna be in my repertoire and used as a daily commuter. It's just a fun little board. I mean, if you're looking for something that's just able to be jumped on, snap around, whip, it's got a nice color design for it too. Meepo is kind of rebranding themselves and stepping in a different direction with this different, style choice, and I'm all for it. I'm here for it. So hopefully you guys can join me along this journey. If you haven't yet, click that like and subscribe button, thumbs up this video, and until next time guys, always wear a helmet. Peace.